sure we're all good. There we go. Okay. No. Okay, why is the chat? What's going on here? If you close the window, you'll show you to use the docs menu on the menu bar. Okay. That's fine. Chats. Okay. There we go. Okay. Just working on some bugs, and I'm starting super early. Well, 40, 35, 40 minutes early. I'm going to be starting probably for the next, let's see. I got to double check everything. Let me check the dates. Realistically, I would say probably the next 1, 2, possibly 3 weeks. Really depends. Um, I'm doing this a little early simply because I'm getting ready for regionals, and so that's a lot of training, uh, getting mentally prepared, and you could do a lot in 3 weeks when it comes to working out, surfing, eating, that whole shebang, which is kind of ironic because of today's episode. Let me get all this square. Okay. Still trying to figure out the Instagram. They've changed everything. I can't stand it when you're going live on your computer instead of your phone. Apparently they changed a bunch of stuff and it shows me live on Instagram, but when I go to actually save it so it can stay on my profile, it doesn't, and it's supposed to. So I'm not 100% sure. So to start back from all that, we are starting super early, simply because I'm getting ready for regionals. You've got the Eddie coming up, which we are going to be live streaming. That's out of Ponce. It is on. I'll repost it continuously, but that's going to be through Daytona Board Store. I didn't get to make it last year, but this year it is not going to be competing against other surf comps, and I believe it's on the 18th. But I have all that in on all my social media platforms. Today's gonna be quick, chill. I'm exhausted, literally surfing all day. Me and Madison and a couple of the other kids were surfing. I have my coffee. Um, but basically, that's what's going to be happening. Is at least the next 3 weeks, all these episodes are. I may hit them up at 5 o'clock Eastern time. I may hit them up at 6, but nothing after 6, which is fine because you can go back and drop your comments, watch the episode later. It's not that big a deal, but I want to keep pushing these out to stay on track. Plus, if I do it a little bit earlier, while I'm actually coming down off of I just got back surfing about an hour or so ago, so I could chill, do my thing instead of worrying about dinner at the last second. Because that's what I do. The nights that I do my episode, it's fend for yourself. Because typically I'll have dinner ready at 7 o'clock, and the show starts at 7 o'clock. So, but it is what it is. So, um, thank you guys for tuning in. Um, it's going to be a fun one, an interesting one. The next few episodes coming up are really going to be sick. I'm really stoked about them. Um, I like the hot topics. I really do. But today, like I said, it's a coincidence. I did not plan it this way. But today's episode is about how surfers, how we prepare for competitions. Today, we're going to be talking about how we, as surfers, actually prepare for competitions. And I'm going to be using me, my daughter, and some of the other surfers that I'm friends with, um, how they do it. Every sport has their own rituals, their own steps that they take. And I just want to give you an inside view on. I got you. I got you. That's on next. I got you. I got you. Um, on how maybe I can just do it here and I don't have to go to each individual one. It's still a learning process. Um, but I'm going to give you an inside view on how me and my family and some of the other families that I know, how we go through getting prepared for competitions a few weeks leading up to them. Most people only see the final product, the heat, the wave, the scores. They don't really see what they don't see is everything that leads up to that moment. Prep. It's a lot like the NFL when it comes to prep. What I've noticed, especially like if you're the quarterback or you're the coach, because surfing is really a little bit track, but track you don't prepare like this. Um, it's really you and the wave, the ocean. You don't really necessarily put too much concern on the other surfers. You do, but it's not what you think. You typically, when you're in these events, you already know who you're surfing against, their personalities, their styles, that sort of thing. But this really is more just a breakdown, a simplistic version. Um, and it's not just surfing, it's the physical training, it's the mental preparation, studying, and making very strategic decisions. And if you skip preparation, you're already behind before you ever paddle out. Um, just like with me, um, I got a new board, brand new board, made for my style and what I'm coming into. And I literally just found out not too long ago. I made a post about it. So like a week or so ago. I'm getting to go to regionals. Super stoked, super cool. And I'm like, well, I'm already behind prep wise. Um, so I really need to focus on my physicality. What can I do in the next 3 to 4 weeks on getting that prepared? So surfing is a lot of paddling. It's not going to be super big, super rough, none of that. But on those times where it's a lot of cardio. You got to be able to handle, you know, getting just absolutely annihilated and being held under, sometimes 30, 40 seconds. I've seen longer. If you check out some of these big wave pro surfers, you know, they train themselves to stay under for a long time, and it's lung capacity, that's cardio, and that's mental. Um, and the physical side of it helps tremendously. Um, it's not the big thing I want to make very clear is competitive surfing is not casual surfing. It's not like when we go out and chill and surf and have fun. I mean, yes, we're having fun in the competitions, but this is a competition. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to make it to that next level. Um, and so while, yes, you're out there having fun, it's very, very competitive. You're dealing with repeated paddling at high intensity. It's not like when you're practicing when you can just mosey your way out and not really push. When you're in these big surf comps, you know, it's very high intensity. You have a certain amount of time to get out there, a certain amount of time to catch these waves. And my style and a lot of other styles are you're not trying to hit every single wave. Yes, a lot of surf competitions you have a wave limit. A lot of it's 10, 11 waves, sometimes more if you're in the finals. But legitimately, you're being very picky on the waves that you take, because it only takes 2 waves to win it. That's all it takes. Your 2 top waves, and you typically know when you're on these waves what kind of score that's going to be. Um, and you're a lot quicker. You're more explosive on your pop ups. Yes, you practice how you play, but when you're in those moments, everything is faster. Everything is more explosive. Um, and it's not like when you're practicing where you can legit sit out there for 6 hours. Um, a lot of the times in these competitions, you have several heats and you're doing the work in each of those heats that you would do a couple hours a day. So 15-minute heat, 35-minute heat, everything you've done for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in a surf sesh, you do in 15 minutes. There are comps that run it 35 minutes. It's the same. It's the same thing. You're literally using all your physicality in those heats that you would do on a whole day basis if you're making it a whole day surf session. Now, there's days where you go out there and you surf, hour, 2 hours, and then you're done, unless the waves are firing, and then you're legitimately out there all day. There's been days when we're preparing for all this and the waves are just firing, and we'll be out there 6-7 hours. We'll go eat lunch or something. That everybody else will. I won't. I don't like doing that kind of thing on a full stomach. And then we'll take a break for an hour, 35 minutes, whatever, 45 minutes, and they go right back out for another 6 hours. So with all that being said, training needs to match that intensity. When you're 4 weeks out from a surf competition, I'm just using hypothetical numbers. If your goal is when you're 4 weeks out is when you're super intense or you are already done. Me personally, when I was doing other sports or big into weightlifting and all that stuff, um, strength training. If I'm 3 weeks out from the comp, 2 weeks out at the closest distance, and I'm not already there, then there's a problem. But I've noticed for me as I've gotten older and started doing more surf competitions, 3 weeks out. 3 weeks out is really when I want to hit the high intensity, make sure my body is prepared. If it's not prepared, push it over whatever's stopping me. And a lot of this is, what works for me. And what I've noticed works for my daughter and some of the other surfers that we hang around with. Upper body strength and paddling power is a must. Your shoulders, back, arms are consistently working. Your biceps, your triceps, your lats, your 3 shoulder muscles, your delts, everything. So a lot of surfers, I do not. My resistance is typically the water. A lot of surfers, however, train with resistance, like resistant bands, resistance when they're swimming, paddle drills. There are some paddle drills that I do, but typically when I'm looking for that core resistance training, I focus on that during the winter because I'm in a wetsuit. And my wetsuits, the way it fits my body, it in general gives me a lot of resistance. I hate wetsuits, full body wetsuits, because it's a lot of resistance. So come summertime, preparing for the next winter, I have that more capacity. But there are things that I personally do at home. I do a ton of, I call them modified burpees. I will literally have a board down and I will just, instead of focusing on a number of pop-ups, and I'm talking quick pop-ups, not, your long board drawn out. I'm talking get up fast as you can, be in that stance, and I will try to do as fast as I can for 35, 45 seconds non-stop. Usually by the time I'm done with that, I'm just drenched in sweat. And then a lot of core strength and balance. Your core controls everything in surfing. Everything. Turn, stability, recovery. Without your core strength, your surfing falls apart under pressure every single time. This includes, here's some of the things that I've done that work for me as an individual. If you've followed me for any amount of time, I've had 2 big back surgeries. I should have had 3. Still waiting on that, maybe, baby. Uh, um, I've got neurological issues, some heart issues, some lung issues, brain issues, the whole package. So this is what works for me as an almost 40-year-old dad who has transitioned from super big bodybuilding strongman style mentality, um, going from 250. I'm actually down to 206. Not going to go any further. But here's what I do. I do for my core. I do a ton of planks, rotational exercises, so like the Russian twists and things of those natures, and a lot of balance training. One of the biggest issues that I had, when you've got some brain injuries and some neurological injuries and stuff like that, your balance gets thrown off like dramatically, and that's an issue with surfing. You kind of need to know how to balance, and so focusing on those things instead of going out to the bench press and trying to bench, 425, or like do some heavy lifting. I focused on, balance training, core strength, planks, things that are going to engage, butterfly kicks, and, some old military stuff that works every single time. And then you gotta do your endurance and recovery. I'm not a big runner anymore. I was a huge runner, huge runner. Uh, Not so much. Um, but when you're surfing in these competitions, you've got to get ready. Heats are exhausting because your adrenaline's flowing. You are using far more of your reserves than you typically would do on a normal surf session. So you have to train for those things. Um, so you also have to be able to have your body recover. This goes into how are you eating? What's your endurance and recovery training? My diet, and I hate calling things diet because it's just a way we eat. It's a fad to call something a diet. I uh I eat a pretty heavy carnivore style diet with some modifications. Not much. The breads, the sugars, I don't eat hardly any carbs. I do have a little bit. There's absolutely zero fiber in my diet. Don't need it, especially for my body type and my genetic makeup. I don't need it. Um, and there's things that I can add to my diet. I typically will add some vitamins and stuff because one, I hate liver, and that's where you get a lot of your vitamins from. Um, and that helps. Your amino acids help with your recovery. Um, Stretching. I'm not a fan of yoga. I don't like what yoga stands for. I don't like where it came from and originated. That's my own personal preference, to each their own. But when it comes to core fundamental stretching, uh, I do that. I do a lot of that. Um, Work on your stabilizer muscles, to help prevent injury is also very key, especially when you're a guy like me and you have horrible, weak ankles. You've really got to make sure those tendons and ligaments and those stabilizer muscles are good to go. And 4 weeks out is plenty of time. Um, you should be doing that year round. However, sometimes we do take breaks. And one big key thing is your breath hold training for super heavy conditions. And I love big conditions. Um, I, if it ain't 10, I'm not in. I'd love to go catch me a 20, 25 foot plus. That's just, I don't do bucket lists, but that's one of the things I would love to do. Um, Sorry, my screens are all Apple backwards. Uh, Gum. Sorry. Oh, there we go. That works a lot better. Um, uh, To add to all this, a huge thing that I can't stress enough. And this is more than just preparing for competitions. This is just surfing in general. When you're getting into surfing and you're learning about everything, you got to spend time in the water, not just to get used to the water, um, but to actually study the waves. How are you going to surf if you don't know what the wave's going to do? My daughter's 5 and she's already telling me that's a closeout. Don't send me. Or if she's off to the side and she thinks I'm going to head on closeout. And sometimes I do just for fun. Um, she'll say, no, Dad, closeout. Or she'll say right. She'll say left. You get that by getting in the water. You don't get that by, yes, you can watch videos and stuff. Um, like I said, we're like 3-4 weeks out from regionals, so we're gonna be very chill, everybody. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm chilling. This isn't gonna be my normal style. Like if I could, I would lean back in my chair, but then my voice gets far from the mic. But this goes to, if you're not out there studying the wave patterns, where are they breaking consistently? If you know where this surf competition is going to be, you tend to go and you practice on that break. Where's going to be the best takeoff spot? And honestly, this can shift throughout the day depending on the tide and the swell. And then learning the tides and the conditions. Some breaks work better at high tide, some low. Winds also play a huge role. Is it offshore? You know, a lot of times offshore winds clean up the waves. Onshore winds can make things very messy. Timing between sets. Is it a 6 second between each set? Is it 10 seconds? Is it longer? This is huge in surf competitions. This is almost like, for my football players and even baseball players, this is okay. When you're in a stadium, is it open or is it closed? Which side is the sun setting on? Is it grass or is it turf? What type of grass are we playing on? What's underneath the grass? Because then you wear certain cleats for that. Huge things, huge. Baseball, the infields matter. The dirt matters. Where you're playing matters. And it's the same thing with surf competitions. If you don't know the timing of the sets, you're going to be way out of position. And if you're actually studying, then you're going to be ahead of everybody else. And this is where the experience really shows. Beginners just paddle out and react. Competitive surfers always observe, they wait, they strike at the right moment. And they're not chasing waves. They're choosing them. There's a lot of surfers out there. This isn't for them. There's a lot of surfers that it looks like they're chasing the waves. But they know, okay, one peak's here. There's another peak still in the same surf zone, but over here. Now, a lot of surfers do chase, and they're on the pro level, and to each their own. However, if you're just trying to get into it, if you're just learning everything, you find where the best peaks are, you find where everything is copacetic, and that's where you go. Now, you are going to have to move quite a bit, but you're not going to be chasing. You're not going to be here, oh crap, there's a wave over there. Typically, in your normal setting surf competitions, you're not going to do that. You can finish. Come on, hurry up, please. My son is getting ice, and I told him, just chill for the next 45 minutes. Don't be noisy. That ice machine is loud. At least it is for me when I have the headset on. And here's another thing you've got to add to all that is when you're, let's say you're fresh, we'll use ESA. We'll say you're surfing ESA in any ESA. It doesn't matter what district you're in. And you're a new surfer, but you're building your confidence and you're entering into these competitions. This falls in line with this and many other episodes that I've done and will do. Do not have 15 people telling you what to do. Have 2 or 3 people that actually know what they're doing. And if I ruffle some feathers, I really don't care, because this is a huge problem. And it's a huge problem with new surfers and people who think they can surf and people that think they can surf and they have a business in the surf industry. It's all of it. I can tell you how many times I've seen people who don't surf and who are trying to tell other people what to do when it comes to surfing. Now, let me back up a little bit. Now, you're going to have people who study surfing, who are coaches, or who have the desire to help in that form. But you can tell the difference. You can tell somebody who has studied, who has paid attention, who knows exactly what they're talking about. I'll give an example. There's a lot of hate on soft tops. I hate soft tops. I can't stand them. I don't like how they feel. I think they have their place. And I'll give some examples. If you have somebody that has a big disability that needs a massive surfboard and funding is a problem, you can get big soft top boards that are going to be able to do something like that. At no point should you ever tell somebody, don't surf hard top boards, they're going to kill you. You just don't do that. Are hard tops dangerous? Yes. Surfing is dangerous. However, if people are trying to make that next step, and I put my daughter on a soft top when she was 3. Because, one, I'm not a lifelong surfer. It's not like I grew up surfing. So, not just for her safety, but for my safety until I got to the point to where I was comfortable enough to have situational awareness on what was going on, she was on a soft top. Immediately when I realized, okay, we're good to go, put her on a hard top. She was 4 and a half, 5, somewhere in that ballpark. Now she stayed on it for a little bit because I had her in competitions already that had soft top divisions. But if you stay on a soft top, and we're not talking about guys like Ben Gravy who can go out there and rip on a soft top, and do it for fun. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these kids that are wanting to surf that have outside voices telling them no, and not the outside voices that should be saying it. If you don't surf, and I'm talking consistently, if you're not a competitive surfer, you're not out in the water surfing all the time, and I don't want to hear this, well, my injury keeps me out of the water. I'm a perfect example, and like I've said in previous shows, I've seen paraplegics. I've seen people with one leg. I've seen people that were morbidly obese getting out there. Just today, I was witnessing a older lady, quite a bit older, out there surfing. She was getting a lesson, so there's no excuse, unless you're literally tied up dying of cancer or you're on your deathbed. If your excuse is, well, I have an injury, it won't let me surf, and it's not a legitimate injury, I'm talking like legit, you still have your stuff in a cast, then quite frankly, shut up. Legit. You're hurting whoever, and this is part of prep. This is part of any level preparation for competitions. I've had to tell people with my daughter, you're not our coach. You're not in our circle of coaches. Keep your opinion to yourself unless I'm asking for it. Because you build a schedule, you build a circle around what you're doing. And if you're preparing for a competition, that goes for going to surf school, training, whatever. If you allow individuals who have no business, and you could tell very quickly, and if you can't tell, get help, and we'll tell you, that have no business telling people what to do when it comes to surfing. Ooh, let's get a little bit of... It got a little dark. So for my new surfers, that's very important when you're preparing for competitions, when you're at a competition. Make sure, if you're a young Grom, especially if you're a young Grom, make sure you tell people, hey, get out. Don't sit here and try to coach me. You're not mom. But be respectful. I'm always big for respect. I give people one opportunity. I have a ritual that I do with my daughter before she goes out. We go out typically 5 6 minutes and we sit on the beach before her heat, and we will sit there. And there's several times where I've told her friends, "Hey, psh, 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 go away," or parents will come up, "Hey, psh, 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 go away." At this point, they can read my body language and say, yeah, no, we'll come back." It's very important. That is your time to get mentally ready. And if you are out there, I don't care if you're struggling, have those people there for you. It's key, it's important. Set the boundaries. Parents, set the boundaries. If your kids can't do it, you do it for them. And I'm going to tell you this is part of preparing for competitions. You have parents who try to, and it's not just parents, it's a lot of people will try to put their 2 cents on your kid. Don't let them do it if they're not in your circle. I say that because that takes away from your ability to have that relationship with your coaches. That takes away your ability to stay in the right frame of mind, to study the waves, to realize the heat that you're in. And if you have all those voices back here, it's going to set you back. It really is. Because prime example, you're in the middle of your heat. You've already gone through the whole process of preparing for your competition, and you're good to go. And then you have somebody on the beach nagging. That's what it is. You're nagging. And now you're out of your zone. Now you have a fit. Now you break down. See where I'm getting at? Which I say that because that's mental, right? All those things that you do here, which is the next step, mental preparation and strategy. There is, this is really where a lot of competitions are really won or lost, flat out, the mental side. Because no matter how good you are, pressure changes everything. I've seen some of the best surfers here locally when they get in a competition. They show up to the hitter's box, but they don't swing. Or they line up, it's 4th and goal, and they drop back and fumble the ball. They can't make that, or they overshoot the receiver. Mental control, man. You might miss a wave. You might fall on your best maneuver. You might not get waves for several minutes. If you lose focus, your performance is going to drop, and it's going to drop like a rock. So surfers train themselves to stay calm, reset quickly after mistakes, stay focused under pressure. Some use visualizations. That coffee's drying me out. Seeing themselves successfully riding waves before it happens. Others focus on breathing and stay controlled. If you watch what is it? The F1 racers, high speed. I don't know what they're called, but the guys that do the motorcycle racing, even pilots. If you watch the Blue Angels, you'll see them. They got their eyes closed. They're in the moment, and they're doing their maneuvers in their head. Top Gun pilots. It's in here, which leads me back to say, if you've got those people on the beach that have no business being on the beach, if your parents aren't doing it, you need to have somebody in your circle that will tell them, be gone. Because I can tell you this, I'm going to use Victor. There are times when Victor, and we've become really close. He's like family. I had to tell him, step back. You're being too aggressive. And he does the exact same thing for me. He's in the circle. Now, if some other Joe Smo came up and tried to say that, I'm not going to punch him in the mouth, but you get what I'm saying. You've got to have that. You've got to have that circle. You've got to have that support that people realize, okay, he's in his moment, because surfing is very mental, competitive sporting. It is. You've got to be mentally in control. Even when, like, I make posts saying, when I can go out in the water and I surf, I get to be mentally free. I'm mentally free, but I have more control than I've ever had, because there's very little going on outside And all my mental control is watching the waves, reading the waves. What are they doing? Okay, I'm cross stepping the wrong way, or I'm leaning too much this way. I'm doing this. And if you break that, it's very difficult unless you've been training and training and training and training to stay in that moment. Once it's broken, it's very hard to get back. It's just how it is. It's like you have a cup of water, just a cup of water, and then you put a whole bunch of red dye in it. It's now red. Even if you keep pouring water in, you know how long it takes to get all that red out? Think about that as your mind. Competitions are not just about surfing your best. They're about surfing smarter than everyone else. You have to think about wave selection. Not every wave is worth taking. Scoring potential. What will the judges reward? Priority rules, when you use it and when to give it up. And sometimes the best move is just to wait. Sometimes, especially for longboarding, you take the smaller wave just to get the score on the board because it's a clean. It might be a 2-foot little nugget, but it might be a clean 2-foot, nice open face going on a right. Whereas Johnny Senior is on a 5-foot, but it's a dumpy closeout and he can't do anything. Whereas you're on the 2-3 footer, riding 10, 15, 25 seconds, getting some good turns in, getting even a floater in. See where I'm going with this? Patience, mental clarity. Sometimes and honestly, sometimes just to block another surfer from getting a better wave. It is cutthroat. Surf comps they are friendly, but it's cutthroat. It's you versus them, but it's also you versus them versus the ocean. And this is where experience, discipline, and awareness all come together. And how you prepare for all that is doing that stuff at home, doing that stuff at your local beach that you surf at. It is understanding surfing is a lifestyle. That lifestyle carries over into surf competitions. I'm never going to advocate for bullying somebody out in the water or, purposely. I'm not a big fan, and surf competitions do have this, especially with priority of just sitting right on top of somebody. I'm not a big fan of purposely trying to keep them from getting the wave, because at the end of the day, it doesn't. See how I can put this. So if my best waves are what they are, and I know I'm not better than somebody, I have to sit on them and block them because I know they're better than me, I'm just not down for that. I would rather go down swinging, giving it my best. And I know my surfers. I got you. I know it's part of it. Doesn't mean I have to like it, and it doesn't mean that just because I don't like it doesn't mean I wouldn't do it. Because at the end of the day, I want to win. But if it were up to me and I could completely restructure, I wouldn't have sitting on. I do like priority. I do like that. But where it comes into an issue is when you have that priority and you use that just to block somebody else. I I get it. It's to block them from getting the wave that you want. I get that. What I'm saying though is, to me, it comes off as, I know you probably would get a better score than me on this wave because you're better than me. Why else would you want to block somebody? You know they're better. You know. Yes, I get it. Trust me. I know. I'm going to get some flack for that. I don't care. That's where I stand on it, and I will die on that hill. Just like I will always die on the hill of, I would much rather watch longboarders because there's more grace and control and style. Oh, it froze on me. Give me a second, y'all. Hold on. My screen froze. Let me get on here and see if y'all can hear me. This is the free talk anyways. I typically do 10 minutes of free talk at the end where I can just BS around. Hey, is it frozen on YouTube, Chris? I got your message because it shows frozen on my screen. Let's see here. I'm resetting the camera. It's showing everything still streaming, but on my computer it shows that it's frozen. So yeah, it's showing frozen. See, little few minutes early. Oh, okay. I think it's well, I think we're having a camera spits USB. Oh yeah, hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I apologize. We can do this real quick so I can end it. I got y'all. Don't worry. Stay with me. Stay with me here. Oh, get the laptop out because that's what I'm on. Maybe. What am I hooked? What am I caught on? There we go. Okay. Okay, hold on. HD. There we go. Boom. Sorry, that's not going to be as clean or as good. That's my laptop. Um, but what I will say is this is when you're preparing, here is a lump sum of everything that I do. 3 to 4 weeks out, I look at everything and I say, okay, that is super dark. Sorry, guys. Uh, hey, son, can you go turn on this light right here? The the kitchen light, because I'm having to use the wrong camera. Okay, that's a little better. Again, I'm sorry. My I guess it died, which is weird because I have it plugged in all the time. Um, when I'm a couple weeks out, I prepare. I look at where we're going to be surfing. I will do my best to go try to surf that beach. I'm going to do one more thing because this is driving me crazy. Ah, there we go. That's a little better. um, I'll go surf the beach that we're going to be at. I do quite a bit of high intensity to make sure that I'm at the peak that I need to be at. And the regiments that I do work for me. They may not work for everybody else. But like this one coming up, I get myself prepared. Like, okay, well, it's regionals. What's after regionals? Well, Easterns. What do I need to do to make sure that I have a good shot at getting into Easterns? And then I go from there. With that, all that being said, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your life, run your business, run how you surf. But it's very important that if this is something you're going to do, other than having fun, free surfing is what I'll call it, free surfing. If you're actually going to go and be a competitive surfer, that's what you got to do. You got to get yourself mentally prepared. You got to understand what's at stake and what you're doing. Read only. I'm so confused. Okay. Um, I am going to check one thing. So, as you guys may not know, but more than likely do know, the glitch in the Matrix. Chris, you're a hoot, bro. Um, learning all this stuff, technically, trying to get everything to line up and mesh properly, uh, has been quite interesting. Dude, I like that. See, and I'm sorry I didn't comment on my personal page. It's not popping up here to where I can see it. Just the business page. I've been having issues. Dude, Mr. Henry, you are correct. One thing, nobody loses. We just run out of time. That's straight facts. Um, I like that. I like that a lot, dude. I'm so stoked for regionals. I really am. I mean, it was a shock. It like legit was. I surf ESA because my daughter is starting to get in it now, and I'm sorry for that TV back there. Let's see if I can. It is what it is. Um, and there were some things going on with ESA that I wanted to try to get plugged into, but wasn't going to be the best course of action for everything I'm trying to do. Um, I like our district. I like the people that surf in it. There's a lot of people I enjoy. Um, and so I know with the direction things could have gone, it may have pissed a lot of people off, which at the end of the day, I really don't care. Um, but this goes back to the mental clarity. Uh, I'm not going to mentally drain myself for certain people. It's just not going to happen. Or for uh, other aspects of it, which is a good thing. We all get to work together. Nothing really has to be ruffled, you know. And so with that, everybody gets to grow together. And that's the key thing is everybody gets to grow together and everybody gets their piece of the pie, which at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And the reason why I'm looking down is I'm trying to make sure. See, I'm getting notifications on the show itself on the business page, and they're not popping up here. So I don't know. I get it figured out one day. Um, with that being said, there are a few things I wanted to talk on for our free. This is free talk closing. Um, legit, this is a huge issue and something I have a big problem with. Which the only reason I'm bringing it up now is because in a couple episodes it's going to be the main topic. If you don't surf and you do not actually coach or have actually legitimately studied what it is that makes surfing, how to surf, how to coach somebody that surfs, mind your business. Legit, 100%. Just because you have a company in the surf industry does not mean one, you know how to surf, two, you know how to coach surfing, or three, surfing itself. It is a huge problem. It's a huge problem. And I'm not trying to be confrontational. I'm just being real. You have no business telling people how to surf and what to do. Like 100% legit. I don't care if you're best friends with Kelly Slater and you grew up with Andy Irons or your brother's Kai Lenny. It doesn't matter. Just because they are around you doesn't mean you, in fact, know. With that being said, if you have put in the time and you do study surfing, like legit, like you could legit be a surf coach, um, then more power to you. But no boundaries. I can't tell you how many surf competitions that I go to and I watch and that have been a part of that I'm just like, if you did that to my kid, we'd be having a problem. Like legit, we'd have a problem. Um, sorry, I was reading a message. Oh, speaking of that, so we're going to be doing the Eddie at Ponce on the 18th. If you were somebody that would love to help out, I could use help um, behind the camera. I did it last time. We made it work. But if you're trying to get in some practice, or like I said, with private schools, they require you to have some community service hours. hit me up. If not, no big deal. Or if you're not comfortable and you want me to, stay on top of you and make sure you're doing it right, that's not a problem. Um, it's just this is a really fun event, and I want to make sure that I'm able to truly focus on the surfers themselves in broadcasting this instead of running between camera and mic. But if not, no big deal. Just know I am looking for some help on the camera side. I am able to do it all on my own, and I have been doing it, but the help is much appreciated. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to see if I could pull it up real fast. I had it up, but my camera went down, so I had to move everything. Let me put this right here. There's a few things I want to mention. To our sponsors, one, thank you guys. I'm always going to give y'all shout out and love, Foxy Wax and Prince Boards and Charming Shark. All three amazing companies. All three are owned by phenomenal people. If you get a chance, go hit them all up. Tell them I sent you. They may hook you up with some cool gear. They may not. It's like going to the casino. And that's the fun part. Are they going to hook you up? I don't know. They might. It's well worth it. Also, we are trying to help the Caribbean Surf Connection boost what they're doing. And they're out of the Dominican Republic. Looking forward to getting down there and doing some live streaming for them. So if that's something you're interested in, the Dominican has some great surf spots, has some great businesses down there, some really good people. You don't just have to stay in one area. You don't have to just fly to Florida and surf. You can go to the Dominican Republic. Great place to go. There's also some great places in Puerto Rico. If you're interested in going there, hit me up. I've got some connections out there that we can get you lined up. Some great photographers out there. Some great little surfing instructors and all that good stuff. So if that is something that interests you, always hit us up with that. We have built I keep saying we. It's I. I have built up, we have built up, my company has built up great relationships with a lot of people. If you go up to the Carolinas, hit me up. I know a great place up there. I know some good people up there that will treat you good, make sure you're good in the water. If you know what you're doing and you're just looking for places to stay, hit me up. I can point you to them. That's what this is so great about this industry is everybody that's in it for the legit reasons, build connections, build great relationships, are able to help each other out. Hell, if you go up to New Smyrna, I can point you in the right direction. Some phenomenal surf shops up there that do their own surf training and surf camps. And then there's other people up there that have their own. And like I said, I can point you in the right direction. If you're interested at the Eddy, hit me up. That's going to be April 18th at Ponce. We've got regionals coming up, which the 10th and the 12th of April. Then we have Gnarly Charlie, which is this coming up weekend, and it's the banquet. It's the final competition to really lock in. And there's some first place, second place that are battling it out. So definitely get up there. I'm trying to think of. Those are the ones that we're connected to right now. There's a whole bunch going on. It's summertime. It's getting ready to be summertime. Big shout out to Coca Soul for everything they do for us and for Madison when I'm not able to do her training. Pure Water Outpost down there in Indian Atlantic, Indian Harbor. They're satellite. I think they're technically satellite. Mr. Glenn's great dude. We were a part of that. Madison went down there, but we've been so busy, so focused on a lot of things, we haven't had an opportunity to get back down there. If you are looking for one-on-one personal training in that area, hit up Mr. Glenn, and then hit up. Give me a second. I know he was doing some restructuring, so before I go out and say the wrong name. No, I guess not. Go to Pure Water and then ask for Rooney. Um, Amazing dude. He's really smart. We have a lot of the same background when it comes to training, when it comes to working out, sports in general. He has all the certifications. Great dude. Um, on top of what he's doing, and he's running out of um, Pure Water Outpost. So make sure you give them a like, share, and a follow. And also, one last thing for all my homeschool kids, all my homeschool parents, if you're looking to get more information on how, let me rephrase that. If you're looking to homeschool your kids and you're in Florida, hit up Miss Naomi. Um, I can send you the links for all that. She has her program that she runs. My daughter's a part of it. She helps you. If you don't know how to do it, she absolutely helps you walk through the whole process of getting the scholarships through the state and what you need to do. She has a great program. It's a phenomenal program. If you're looking for surf lessons in my area, hit me up. I can point you in the right direction. I am friends with several surf schools. Other than that, like I said, we're possibly going to be doing this quite a bit earlier. I may go to once a week um, while I'm getting ready for regionals, but after after the 12th of next month, we'll be good to go back on spot. So thank you guys. Sorry for the technical malfunction. We got through it. I appreciate y'all's support. If you guys are looking to get involved with any of the things I mentioned, hit me up. If you're looking to get involved, I am looking for a cameraman and some tech guys and some people that want to jump on this with me. I'm also looking for a co-host for when I do live streams of the surf competitions, and I'm looking for one for my weekly shows. So if that's something that's interested to you, I'm in the Cape. If you're close by, we can work it out. We have a lot of big things planned, a lot of big things coming. I'm just not going to disclose it yet until it's 100% locked in. We are fixing to blow up like no other. So I would highly suggest you jump on this with me and let's ride this gravy train together. Anyways, you guys have a blessed night. I'm going to go eat my dinner and do some training, and I will see you guys